Welcome to The Culture. We rest at the pulse of the community, providing all things news, music, fashion, events, and everything that we talk about in between. It's a lifestyle. We are The Culture. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Culture. We would like to welcome today Sybrina Fulton, who is an activist and also co-founder for the Trayvon Martin Foundation. Welcome to the show today, Sybrina.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know that you could have gone anywhere, any news outlet to sit down and talk about today's unfortunate occurrences that are going on, and you chose The Culture, and we are grateful for that. Thank you. I wanted to talk to you today about the international case with Ahmad Aubrey. He lost his life on February the 23rd. Then 10 weeks later, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations is called in, and within 72 hours, you have Gregory and Travis Michael arrested. And then you have them changing for a third time to a new district attorney who happens to be an African-American woman. What are your thoughts on this timeline, and quite frankly, what really should have happened?
Well, we all know that they should have been arrested, and they kind of figured it out through the court system. I mean, they should not have been the judge and jury on behalf of Ahmad and his family. I mean, when you take matters into your own hands like that, that's why they were arrested. Okay, bring them in and let's investigate it. Let's look through the facts. Let's look through the evidence. Let's see what's going on. Instead of doing that, they ignored the fact that there was somebody that was shot and killed on the ground. You know, and it wasn't so, to me, it wasn't so important to them that this was an African American. It was almost as if they were comfortable with shooting a person of color and not going to jail. Whenever there's a death, it needs to be investigated, and it needs to be investigated properly. America has gotten so comfortable with shooting and killing. And I say that deliberately, saying comfortable. They are comfortable with shooting people of color and not going to jail, not even being arrested for it. And we as African Americans, we have to do what we need to do. So if it's necessary for us to protest, for us to march, for us to put it out into the media, then that's what we need to do. If we need to get an arrest every single time by doing that, then that's simply what we need to do. We can never be too relaxed in what's going on, because it's not going to automatically happen for us. And we have to realize that it's not going to be something, okay, well, we think a crime was committed. No, you know something happened here. So let's investigate it thoroughly. We have to do that with every death, not just other folks.
Now, there were all of these memes going around on the internet. I even heard Crump say it. I read it on this guy, what is it? Not Donnell Jones, but Carl Thomas page. And it said they made the arrest not because they saw the video, but because we saw the video. How instrumental do you think the video played in this arrest?
Well,
ultimate arrest.
I'm going to tell you that there was a video in Eric Garner's arrest, and Eric Garner's tragic death. Remember the chokehold in New York? The police said that they didn't have him in a chokehold, but we clearly saw a chokehold. That happens all the time. Sometimes they do have videos, sometimes they don't. Sometimes the video is missing. And so we had to fight for the video, just for the video for the 911 call. We had to fight for, that was an audio, I'm sorry. We had to fight for the audio for the 911 call. We had to fight for the video for the 7-Eleven. There was a third video, which was at a mailbox. We never got that. We never saw that. We don't know what happened at the mailbox when the person who shot and killed Trayvon got out of his vehicle. So that mysteriously was missing. But what we have to do is when there is a death, immediately they need to obtain an attorney. They need legal advice, and then we rally the troops in. You know, you're not just listening to your family and your friends. You need to get professional legal advice of what to do next, because you can't just walk in a police station and say, I want this report, I want this video, I want this. You have to work through that process through an attorney. And so whenever I talk to a family, I always tell them, do you have an attorney? Because I'm not an attorney. I can only simply tell you my experience and my journey and what I went through. I'm by no means a professional. And so I always tell them to make sure that they obtain an attorney so that they can know what process they need to take and what's next. The average person does not know what's next. And so sometimes we are trying to do things on our own, and it's delaying time, it's delaying evidence. People are getting their stories together and things like that. And so when you get an attorney early on, they're going to help you with those things. And so I just think it's important, and it was a good thing that that video came out. But yes, it was because we saw it. It wasn't because there was a video. Early on, they did see, and I'm talking about the administration in Georgia, in Brunswick, they did see the video, but they didn't see enough in that video to say, okay, at least let's arrest them. That's the minimum thing that they could have done, was arrest them and then bring them in to get to the bottom of things, to do a thorough investigation, to find out their statement. We only have one of the parties here that can tell you possibly what happened, and that's the person who shot and killed Ahmad. Ahmad is not here, so we can never hear his side of the story. And that's why we need the parents of, and that's why we need the attorneys, and that's why we need people standing up for Ahmad.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know that this case has reached international media coverage, and with a number of the cases, even with Michael's case that you mentioned, it seems as if the justice system still has a lot of inequalities. I want you to give us, our viewers, some things that we can be doing to be proactive, because there are things right now that I know outside of voting in this upcoming election cycle that we as a body can be doing to be proactive, so that it's not that we're acting behind the trigger, behind the gun, so to speak, after something happens. How can we become proactive?
One of the things, you're right, you're absolutely right about voting, but also people can connect themselves with a nonprofit organization such as the NAACP, such as the National Action Network. They can work through those organizations, not create your own, because a lot of times when people create their own, then we all scattered all over the place. We need to have one body so that there's a call made, and we need to rally the troops in, and there we are, in support, in unity. We have to have that, because numbers speak volume. And so that's one of the things that I would suggest people to do. In addition to voting, and in addition to registering other people to vote who are not registered voters, and encouraging people to vote. The other important thing, Jessica, is people need to make sure when they get that summons in the mail for them to go to jury duty, that's absolutely important. They need to go to jury duty, because you never know whose child you need to listen to evidence on. It might be something that you feel strongly about, but if you are always trying to get out of jury duty, you're never going to be able to exercise your right as a jury member. And like I said, and connect yourself with a nonprofit organization, but just learning about what's going on and just keeping abreast of what's going on, and not just waiting until a tragedy happens and now we have to come together again and try to rally. You need to work through one of those organizations.
That's good. What are your thoughts about Trayvon being this generation's face for activism? When people see his face, they know that they need to do something.
I believe that it's been 7 years for me, and I just never believed that. I don't know. It's all so real for me. It's just, I'm proud of him. But at the same time, I wish he was here, so I can express to him how proud I am of him. I get alerts on my phone, and I mean, it's more than just daily. I get maybe about 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10 alerts a day in reference to Trayvon Martin. And so it's like, it's really crazy to me. It's really crazy to me. But, I just smile every time I see his name. I smile every time I see his picture. I mean, I couldn't just be on social media and just maybe on my friend's page or I'm just there, and I always see his picture. I always see his name is, and it makes me smile, and I'm just taking it all in. And I feel like everything that I do, I'm actually just doing my part. I'm doing my part as a parent. I'm doing my part as an activist. I'm just doing my part. And so everybody needs to do a little something.
Mm-hmm. Well, congratulations on all that you have done, all that you are doing. Continue to fight the fight. Do you have any closing remarks, advice to the public, advice to Ahmaud's parents, anything you would like to close us with?
Well, I just want to say, don't forget Ahmaud. Don't forget Trayvon Martin. Don't forget Eric Garner and Jordan Davis and Dante Hamilton and Sandra Bland and just all of those people who we know of. And then there's a lot of people that we don't know of that were shot and killed, and nobody was held accountable. And so we just have to remember those names. We have to keep posting, and we have to keep their legacy alive, and we have to just keep doing our part and what we can to try to make a difference in this country. My heart goes out to the family, to the Arbery family. I'm working behind the scenes on a lot of things, including that family's case. But I just want to tell people not to give up. You got to continue to press forward. Everybody knows, who I am and my situation with my son and everything. But a lot of people don't know moving forward some of the things that, I run the Trayvon Martin Foundation. In addition to that, I'm running for Miami-Dade County Commission seat. I also run the Circle of Mothers. I'm writing a book. We had a documentary out. It's just so many other things, that I'm doing that I have to keep it moving, because if I don't and I stay still, I just feel like my mind is just going to just focus on the negative, and I need to focus on the positive. And so that would be my advice to everybody. Just focus on the positive, because it's a lot that we have to be thankful for, but it's a lot of work that we need to do.
Well, we thank you for doing the work that you are doing, and we pray with you to stay encouraged and to stay strong, because we need you. We absolutely do. Culture, thank you for joining us. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram at The Culture XYZ. Once again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
The Culture is produced and owned by Hip Rock Star Media and cannot be reproduced or broadcast without written consent by Jessica Garrett Modkins. All rights reserved 2020.